CenterPoint does a really good job of selecting the right people that have a high degree of kind of trustworthiness and authenticity. That helps build credibility. And we're kind of always willing to go the extra mile in terms of building community support.
And I know internally we always make a conscious effort to get the community involved and to get the backing.
We're long-term holders, so we develop the properties and then we own them long-term. It's not only important for us to build the best property itself, but also improve the community as a whole.
Our willingness to listen and be open to both the municipality as well as the people that live in these municipalities to work in partnership with these various groups or municipalities, I think is probably one of our strengths.